just getting ready, folks. All right. Just getting ourselves organized. And seeing where we're all at. Trying to get this where I can see it too. There we go. And okay, I think we're getting pretty close. Now I'm going to do one last little thing. There. Anyway, okay. Looks like it's time. I think we'll get started. So, first of all, welcome. Good to see everybody, sort of. Well, good to be seen by everybody. Anyway, we're going to try to get this going here. It feels a little strange. I haven't done this in a while. And anyway, welcome back. And tonight is kind of I think it's kind of an interesting little selection of songs. I've had a lot of fun getting it ready. And so I'll just give you a little background on it. In 2013, 2013 was the 25th anniversary of the ECMA Awards. And in honor of that, the CBC invited nominations for the the top 10 East Coast songs of all time. And so they received more than 5,000 nominations for the various top 10 songs. And then they collated them and picked the one, kind of sifted through and found what they were the 10 most popular. And then they put together a radio show for Atlantic Airwaves, which is their East Coast show at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturdays. And they put together that show. And they had some really fine East Coast performers. They had Ben Kaplan and Jen Grant, Jimmy Rankin, Kim Stockwood, and Maureen Ennis all took part. And they played those 10 songs. And that was an hour-long show with some discussion and whatnot. And so I was kind of thinking of starting this series with East Coast music. And I really just kind of Googled the top 10 East Coast songs. And this came up, and I happened to remember that concert because that year the East Coast Music Awards were the last weekend of March break, and that was the year before I retired from teaching, and we were in Nova Scotia, and we had gotten tickets to go and see that show, and it was a great show, and it was great music. So I decided, well, let's just try that and see what happens. So I took those 10 songs, and we're going to start with number 10. Now, this is a couple of caveats as soon as you start to choose a top 10. This was chosen, by 5,000 people. So it's a collective top 10 rather than an individual top 10. I didn't choose the songs. So if you feel I've missed one, I didn't miss any of the 10 that were chosen. I just might have missed your favorite. And if I did, and you want to send me a request for another night, I'll gladly do it. And also, because of course this only went to 2013, it doesn't include anything since then. And there's been, there's great East Coast music written every year, and have been some great songs written since then. So, none of those will be here tonight, but we could do them later if we chose. Okay, so if you want to make that choice, you let me know. Anyway, I hope you all got lyrics and chords. I hope you're playing along. So we're going to start. This first song was originally recorded and released in 1950 by Clarence Eugene Snow, better known as Hank Snow, also known as Hank the Yodeling Ranger. Now, Hank Snow was from Brooklyn, Nova Scotia, which is just outside of Liverpool, Nova Scotia. And today there is, in Liverpool, Nova Scotia, a Hank Snow Museum. That's why I can hardly read my writing. Anyway, Hank Snow is in the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame, and has a museum dedicated to him in Liverpool, Nova Scotia. This song was his first big hit, and it was his biggest hit. In the Billboard Country Singles, it spent 21 weeks at #1, and there's only been 3 or 4 other songs since then, one before, and 3 or 4 other songs since then that have tied that record. But at that particular point in time, I guess it tied the record, and for the longest song at #1. It was the first of 7 #1 hits for Hank Snow over a career that spanned from 1950 to into the 1990s. There were cover versions of this song afterwards done by, actually in the same year, Ray Charles did a cover version of it that went to 40 on the pop charts and 11 on the R&B charts. It was kind of a jazzy version of it. And Don Gibson did it. Al Hirt did a trumpet solo version of it. The Rolling Stones have recorded it. Elvis Presley recorded it. Emmylou Harris recorded it. And now I guess we're recording it. So it's called "I'm Moving On," and this is kind of a heartbreak song. And I'm going to bring this a little closer so I can see it, because my eyes aren't nearly as good as they were last semester. Anyway, here we go. I'm moving on. Hank Snow, number 10 of the top 10 from the East Coast in 2013. Let me go beating the road down the track. It's true, mother, daddy ain't coming back. 'Cause I'm moving on. I soon be gone. When you find the high of a little white and blue road sky, I'm moving on. That big life is running new and loose, and the load to the sun that we're coming to. Moving on. Oh, here's my song. You have a laugh on me, so I set you free, and I'm moving on. Mr. Fireman, won't you just me? 'Cause I've got a pretty mama down in Tennessee. Keep moving me on. Keep rolling on. So shovel the coal and just right in the hole and keep moving on. Mr. Pensioner, taking trouble in hand, is rattling so fast as the southern land. Keep moving me on. I'm rolling on. Think I'll ease my mind, put me there on time and keep rolling on. I told you, baby, from time to time, that you just lose, don't pay me no mind. I'm moving on. I'm rolling on. You've broken your vows all over now, and I'm moving on. You switched your engine, I ain't got the time for a traffic woman and harmony lines. We're moving on. You're not that ain't wrong. I warned you twice, you can settle the price, 'cause I'm moving on. But someday, baby, when you had your way, you're gonna want your daddy and you're gonna do right. Just try that first thing, sorry. But someday, baby, when you had your way, you're gonna want your daddy, but your daddy will say, keep moving on. Stay away too long. I'm through with you too bad, you will keep moving on. Yeah, I'm through with you too bad, you will keep moving on. Hank Snow, the Yodeling Ranger. I didn't yodel. You'll notice I didn't yodel. I'm not much of a yodeler. Now, this next tune, this goes back, it was written in 1947 by a gentleman named Otto Kelland, who was a multi-talented character from Newfoundland, and he started his working life as a policeman for the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary. And he eventually went on to be the superintendent of Her Majesty's Penitentiary in St. John's. And then he, after he finished that, he became a model boat designer, and he worked for the Marine Institute, designing and building model boats. He was the author of several different books, wrote quite a number of songs. Along the way, he picked up an Order of Canada, and he died just a month shy of his 100th birthday, which would have been in 2004. He was born in 1904. And this is one of the most beautiful Newfoundland songs you'll ever hope to hear. And it's been around, as I say, since 1947. If you're playing along, I'm playing the capo 2, and it's still both a little high and a little low. It's the closest I could get. Anyway, it's called Let Me Fish Off Cape St. Mary's, and it's a lovely, lovely song. So. Take me back to my western boat. Let me fish on Cape St. Mary's, where the hog downs sail and the foghorns wail. My friends, the browns and the clearings, let me fish off Cape St. Mary's. Let me feel my gaudy lift in the broad Atlantic waters, where the tide rips swirl and the wild ducks whirl, where old Neptune calls the number. Keep the broad Atlantic waters. Let me sail up Golden Bay with my oil skins all streaming from the thunder's fall, and I on me fall, and my old Cape Anacootin with my oil skins all a-streaming. Let me view that rugged shore where the beaches all glisten, that the captain's farm where from dusk till dawn you made your drawl and listen to the undertow a-hissin'. When I reach that last big shoal where the seas roll up their thunder, then let me rest in the earth's cool breast, where the stars shine out their wonder, and the seas roll up their thunder. Take me back to my western boat. Let me fish off Cape St. Mary's, where the hog downs sail and the foghorns wail. With my friends, the browns and the clearings, let me fish off Cape St. Mary's. That last L note really is supposed to happen on every verse, but I just really couldn't hit it most of the time. Don't tell anybody. So this next tune, we've done this one before, and you all know it. You'll remember it from your childhood, or some of you will remember it from your adulthood, I suppose. Anyway, it's this was written by the great Gene MacLellan, wonderful songwriter from Prince Edward Island, or finished in Prince Edward Island anyway. In 1970, this was a hit performed by Anne Murray. It hit number 1 on a variety of charts in Canada and the US. After Anne Murray had a huge hit with Snowbird, this tune, it was also recorded by a few other notables, Lynn Anderson, Perry Como, Loretta Lynn. Gene MacLellan had his own version of it. Slim Whitman recorded it. Chet Atkins recorded it. Elvis Presley recorded it. Hank Snow, Bing Crosby, Rita McNeil, and many others, including a version just not that long ago by Catherine MacLellan, Gene's daughter. All of those people recording it, and Anne Murray's success with it for quite a number of years. This held the record as the highest, with the most records sold of a single song. This was the best-selling Canadian song of all time for quite a number of years, until some of the big international groups hit with their tunes. It was a great song. It was Gene MacLellan and Anne Murray met on the Sing Along Jubilee, which spawned a whole lot of great Atlantic singers, songwriters, and performers. And we give a nod to the CBC for having put that on the air out of Halifax and featured all East Coast performers. So anyway, here we go. Snowbird by Gene MacLellan, and best known by Anne Murray. And I'm on Capo 3 for this. Cold and clean. A young boy guy slides waiting for its coat to turn green. The snowbird sings the song it always sings. Speaks to me of flowers that will bloom again in spring. When I was young, my heart was young too. Anything they would tell me, that's the thing that I would do. But now I feel such emptiness within. For the thing that I want most in life, the thing that I can win. Spread your tiny wings and fly away. Take the snow back with you where it came from all that day. The one I love forever is untrue. If I could, I know that I would fly away with you. The breeze along the river seems to say, should only break your heart again, should I decide to stay. So little snowbird, take me with you when you go. And when the gentle breezes, where the peaceful waters flow. Spread your tiny wings and fly away. Take the snow back with you where it came from that day. The one I love forever is untrue. If I could, you know that I would fly away with you. Yeah, if I could, you know that I would fly away with you. Well, there we go, Snowbird. It's kind of that time of year, right? And we're kind of, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of hoping, we're going to have some pretty mild weather in the next few days. And I don't think I'll be missing the snow. I think I'm ready. I'm ready. Take it away. Now, this next tune, this is a little newer. This is from 2006, so we're, leaving, 45 years there, 35 years. So in 2006, this song won the International Songwriting Competition, winner in the folk category, and then over the course of a couple of 3 years, it also won the John Lennon Songwriting Contest, or was a finalist in the John Lennon Songwriting Contest. In the Chris Austin, sometimes called Burl Fest Songwriting Contest. It was the winner in 2008 in the folk category. And in the Great American Song Contest, it won first place in the Contemporary Acoustic Folk class. And anyway, this was a song, I think really kind of a breakout song, if you will, for a young man from Fredericton, New Brunswick named David Miles, who after this lived a number of different places and has recently moved back to Fredericton, New Brunswick, his hometown. Anyway, David is a great songwriter, and since 2006, he's put out 14 albums, which is that's quite a lot of work. That would be pretty close to an album every year, just shy of it. In that time, he's had dozens of nominations and awards, Music New Brunswick Awards, Music Nova Scotia Awards, East Coast Music Awards, a Juno Award that he shared with Classified. Very successful and very fine young writer. I say young, he's younger than I am. That's not all that hard now, really. And that's okay. Pardon me. Anyway, it's a great song. It's called When It Comes My Turn. Kind of deals a little with aging, which is a sensitive topic in my world. But it is also a great sing-along song. It's got a great chorus. We're going to start with that. And it's just a real fun sing-along song. So thought not only did it make that top 10, but it fit right in with this. Here we go. When It Comes My Turn by David Miles. I ain't no moon, but I'm not on yet. I'm already worried that I might forget. How loud, how loud, how live, how learn. Only I will smile when it comes my turn. I don't want to get weary, I don't want to get bored. Don't want to get tired walking down this road. See that happen so many times. Just want to believe that it's still worth trying. I'm getting old, but I'm not old yet. I'm already worried that I might forget how to laugh, how to love, how to live, how to learn. And I will smile when it comes my turn. I know that it's easier said than done. And I ain't that different from anyone. I'm worried about my money, I got bills that I can't pay. It's more like my father every day. Oh yeah, I'm getting old, but I'm not old yet. I'm already worried that I might forget how to laugh, how to love, how to live, how to learn. And I will smile when it comes my turn. Maybe I'll stop bowling, maybe I'll play bridge. Maybe I'll join a band with my old grandkids. I don't care if it kills me, gonna do what it takes. It's one thing in my heart and a smile on my face. I'm getting old, but I'm not old yet. I'm already worried that I might forget how to love, how to live, how to learn. But I will smile when it comes my turn. Everybody, I'm getting old, but I'm not old yet. I'm already worried that I might forget how to laugh, how to love, how to live, how to learn. But I will smile when it comes my turn. Wanna die with a smile when it comes my turn. Wanna die with a smile when it comes my turn. go. David Miles, when it comes my turn. So how are you all doing? We're getting right up on the whole, a whole year of this old pandemic stuff. I hope you're in line for your vaccination. There's a few extras arriving here in the next few weeks or months, and they're gonna start poking people quick. So you want to get your number in on that. Anyway, so this next tune. This is the author's unknown. This is a traditional folk song. They calculate it was written sometime before World War I, and it's kind of based loosely on a poem called "The Soldier's Adieu" by a Scottish poet named Robert Tannahill. Tannahill. I can't even read my own writing, which is not that unusual. Anyway. This was recorded in 1964 by Catherine McKinnon. If you remember Catherine McKinnon, and she was one of the stalwarts on Sing Along Jubilee. We're back to Sing Along Jubilee, and it was actually used as theme for Sing Along Jubilee. And this song is in the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame, despite not knowing who wrote it. It's been recorded by Stomp and Tom, Anne Murray, Ian and Sylvia Tyson, Stan Rogers, Terry Kelly, and countless others. Really, if you've been at a pub anywhere in Nova Scotia, I'm sure you've sung this song. Probably, if you've been at an Irish or Scottish pub anywhere in the country, you've probably sung this song. Anyway, farewell to Nova Scotia. And here we go. So farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea bound coast, let your mountains learn and rear I be. For when I'm far away up the briny ocean tops, remember me beside for me. Oh, the sun was setting in the west, the birds were singing on every tree. All nature seemed inclined for the rest, but still there was no rest for me. So farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast, let your mountains down and where I be. For when I am far away on the briny ocean tops, will you ever be beside and for me? Well, I grieve to leave, I grieve I grieve to leave my comrades all, and my parents who I held so dear, and the bonny lass that I adore. So farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast, let your mountains down and rear I be. For when I am far away on the briny ocean tops, will you ever be beside and wish for me? Well, the drums they do beat and the wars do run. The captain calls me must obey. So farewell, farewell to Nova Scotia's charms. Birds are like in the morning and I'm far, far away. So farewell to Nova Scotia, sea-bound coast, let your mountains down and weary be. For when I am far away on the briny ocean top, will you ever be beside and for me? Well, I have 3 brothers and they are depressed. Their arms
arms are folded on their breasts. But a poor sinful sailor just like me must be tossed and driven on the blue sea. So farewell, Nova Scotia, the sea bound coast, let your mountains dark and green ride me. For when I am far away on the dry ocean top, will you ever give a sigh for me? Will you ever give a sigh for me?
Well, that's a great song. So you could be making your own vote here as we go along. You could be just, kind of saying, well, would they be in your East Coast top 10 or not? And when we get to the end, if you have 4 or 5 or 2 or 1 empty space, then you should figure out what song you think should be in there and send me a little note, and we'll try to get it in here sometime in the next few weeks. So this next tune, we're going to come back to something a little closer to the current. We had a David Miles song from 2006. This would be from Joel Plaskett, another wonderful East Coast songwriter in Nova Scotia. Grew up in Lunenburg, and he played really as a late teenager with a band called Thrush Hermit. And then they had some success, and then he's played with Joel Plaskett in the Emergency, and he's done an album or 2 with his father, Bill Plaskett, and he's a wonderful songwriter, a wonderfully prolific songwriter, and now runs a recording studio called New Scotland Yard Studio in Dartmouth, and they're doing some wonderful work out of there as well. But Joel Plaskett, really, really talented fellow. And this was the song he wrote that probably got the most airplay, if you will. It was popular on radio. It was actually featured in a Zellers commercial. I didn't know that. But the album this was on, which has the same name, and the song is called Nowhere With You. And the album was called Nowhere With You, and the album won 3 ACMAs in 2007, including Song of the Year for this particular song, Nowhere With You. It's just kind of a fun little tune. Joel very often uses Nova Scotia and Halifax, Dartmouth in particular, as his backdrop, and it works very well for him. So anyway, Nowhere With You. And
looking, why the frown? You always look at me, it's upside down. You say you could know where that you go into, and I don't know where with you. I took the darkness ferry into town, spent my days running around, trying to find a way to tear the strip off these boots, and I don't know where with you. Take the cover, saw the show. At the bar when the drinks didn't go, didn't see a single face that I knew, and I went nowhere with you. And I tag along tonight to kiss sometime, it looks like you might need a little company. I'm so cheap, I might as well be free. Ain't no looking, why the frown? You always look better when it's upside down. Say you got nowhere to go, and I don't know where to be. Here we go. Na 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 and I don't know where to be. Na 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 na. along tonight. With you sometime, it looks like a line. Need a little company, I'm so cheap, I might as well be free. If you can try it, you'll get home. I'm so wild, I could go it alone. Same time next weekend at 10:15, and we can go nowhere again. If you show up and you know I will too, so I can go nowhere again. Hey, good looking, fly around. You always look better when it's upside down. Say you can know where that you're going to, and I don't know where with you. Na 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 na. Everybody go na 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 na, and I don't know where with you. One more time, hey. Na 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 na.
All right, that's a fun song to play, and a great sing-along song. Speaking of great sing-along songs, this is now we're going to have another PEI songwriter enter the fray. This is a tune by Lenny Gallant, who was a wonderful songwriter and performer out of Prince Edward Island. And so we're going capo 4 on this if you're playing alone. And so this is a great tune. So Lenny Gallant released his first album in 1988, and this was off his 1995 album. I believe the album is called Peter's Dream, and this song is called Peter's Dream, nothing to do with this Peter. Anyway, it was the Song of the Year that year, 1995, at the ECMAs. And Lenny Gallant has collected 18 ECMAs. I think it still is well, he may have picked up an extra couple in the last couple of years, but anyway, at one point he had won more ECMAs than anybody else, and that may still be true, but I wasn't able to find in my hours of slaving research or that 10 minutes on the internet, I didn't find an answer to that question. So anyway, but this is a great song, and this was written kind of as a tribute to the inshore fishermen. When in the late 80s and early 90s, the stocks were decimated, mostly with the huge trawlers and factory boats that basically put the inshore fishery left in many areas left it extinct. Anyway, it's a great song, though not a happy song, I guess. Anyway, Peter's Dream. Here we go. Lenny Gallant.
I still get up before the day breaks, and I still walk down to the shore. I watch the sunrise from the eastern road, but I don't say the meaning anymore. After they left his town, he saw it coming years ago. The great issues kept getting bigger and bigger, and the sonar told them where to go. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the sea in Galilee. We cast our nets along the waters, and Jesus rolled over with me. this old piano. What about my father's bones? Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the sea in Galilee. We cast our nets upon the waters, and Jesus rolled them into me. Someone sang an old sea shanty. He told the mainland joke. Kelly Thurston swore until his voice came out. Then he asked me for a smoke. Then he took me his father's shotgun, walked through the harbor, through the town. Divided 14 times, so everyone up. We all watched that boat go down. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing on the sea in Galilee. We cast our nets upon the water, and Jesus rolled them into me. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing on the sea in Galilee. We cast our nets upon the waters, and Jesus rolled them into me. Oh yeah, he rolled them into me. I still get up before the day breaks, and I still walk down to the shore. I watch the sunrise from the eastern ocean, but I don't sail to me anymore.
Lenny Glenn. Oh, there they are. Okay. So this next tune is going to be one you're all familiar with, and it's got a great chorus to sing along to, and really you probably know the verses. This was a huge groundswell when it was released. It was written in 1988 by a wonderful singer-songwriter artist named Rita McNeil. Rita, who, you know, really worked her way up, playing an awful lot of bad bars and all of that sort of stuff. And really, you know, at the peak of her career, she was really a global star with her own television show, and was a great success. And really the most humble, lovely human being you could hope to run into. She was just a sweetheart. And she's, anyway, and she influenced a tremendous number of East Coast songwriters and helped them out. Would try to feature them on her show and would work to and wouldn't, you know, wouldn't feature them, you know, would really feature them as opposed to, you know, you can sing a song while I gild the limelight, you know. Anyway, so Rita's from Big Pond, Cape Breton, and you can still go to Rita's Tea Room in Big Pond, Cape Breton. It's one of the things she started after she was successful. And she was inspired to write this song after visiting the Princess Colliery in Sydney Mines, which coal mine in Sydney Mines. And she got a tour by an old gentleman who was a miner, who was suffering from throat cancer, which her mother suffered from too. And she just was moved to write this song. And in 1990, when it was released, it was a huge hit. And it didn't hit number 1 here, but it hit number 11 in the UK, actually, in Great Britain. But it just kind of rolled across the world, and there were so many people who had mined coal and who just could really, you know, identify with it. But in 1990, when it was released, she had a huge album release, and she was actually that year in Canada. She was the best-selling country artist She was classed as country, I guess. And she outsold even Garth Brooks and Clint Black that year. And over the course of her career, a few highlights: she made 24 albums, she won 3 Juno Awards, 4 CCMA, Canadian Country Music Awards, 11 ECMAs, picked up 5 honorary degrees. Not bad for a woman who really had started her singing career straight out of high school, or maybe even just before. And anyway, she's in the Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame. Member of the Order of Nova Scotia, the Order of Canada. Really, she's done quite well for a woman probably from the wrong side of the tracks in Big Pond, Cape Breton. There might not even be tracks in Big Pond, Cape Breton. I'm not sure. Somebody will set me straight on that. Anyway, this is Workin' Man by Rita McNeil.
It's a working man I am, and I've been down underground. And I swear to God, if I ever see the sun, or for any length of time, I can hold it in my mind. I never again will go down underground. At the age of 16 years, only quarrels with his peers, who vow they never see another one. In the dark recess of the mind, where you age before your time, and the cold dust lies heavy on your mind. It's a working man I am, sing along, and I've been down underground, and I swear to God, if I ever see the sun, or for any length of time, I can hold it in my mind. Lord, I never again will go down underground. At the age of 64, oh, he'll greet you at the door, and he'll gently lead you by the arm through the dark recess of the mines. Oh, he'll take you back in time, and he'll tell you of the hardships that were had. It's a working man I am, and I've been down underground, and I swear to God, if I ever see the sun, or for any length of time, I can hold it in my mind. Oh, I never again will go down underground. Oh, I never again will go down underground. Yes, a working man I am, and I've been down underground. I ever see the sun, or for any length of time, I can hold it in my mind. Lord, I never again will go down underground. Lord, I never again will go
Rita McNeil. Great song. So this next tune is not a stranger to this collective. This is written by the wonderful Newfoundland songwriter, Mr. Ron Hines. So Ron wrote this song. So the story goes, he wrote this song when he was in Alberta in 1976, and he was touring Alberta with a mummers troupe. And they were in a Volkswagen van, and he had been kind of, this song had sort of been going through his head for a little while. And the way he put it was, how did he write that? He said he'd been internalizing Sonny's Dream for a long time. And so he finally hauled up a piece of paper and he wrote the lyrics in about 10 minutes on the bus. And he had kind of a melody in his head, but he didn't actually sing the song for another year to anybody. And he worked through it, and so finally he sang it for somebody, and was recorded by the wonderful Grand Band, and which Ron was a part of. And he recorded this song 5 times over the course of his career. But more than that, this was just one of those songs that caught on. It was recorded by Valdy and Mary Black and Emmylou Harris, Christy Moore in Great Britain. And the way he put it was, in Ron's words, he said, I didn't even know what I had. He said, it was a nice gift. I got blessed. I got something songwriters wait for all their lives, and I got it early in the game. That's being blessed, really blessed. And it's a song that people know all over the world. You can find it, you can hear Portuguese translations, and it just, I remember when I was at St. FX, which he wrote it in 76, didn't record it till 77. I got to St. FX in 78, and you would have thought that song had been there for 100 years. It was really, well, at the time I was there, I think it was every bit as well known as Farewell to Nova Scotia, and was really, according to what I found out, I'm surprised it was that late that it was written. I really got the impression in 1978 that it had been around for years, because everybody knew it. Anyway, and if they didn't, there was a Newfoundlander there to teach it to you, without question. Anyway, Sonny's Dream, here we go. And you all know it, so you all better, I should hear you in the distance or even in the near distance. Here we go. Sonny lives on the farm in a wide space. You take out your sneakers, picking up the race. You lay down your head by a soft river bed. Sonny always remembers what his mother said, and she said, oh, Sonny, don't go away. I am here all alone. Your daddy's a sailor who never comes home. The nights get so long, the silence goes on, and I'm feeling so tired, I'm not always strong. Oh, Sonny carries the load, but he's very good man. There's not that much to do, but he does what he can. And he watches the sea from a room by the stairs, and the waves keep on rolling, and done that for years. Oh, Sonny, don't go away, I'm here all alone. But your daddy's a sailor who never comes home. The nights get so long, silence goes on, and I'm feeling so tired. Oh, that's wrong. Well, it's 100 miles to town. Sonny's never there. So he goes to the highway and he stands there and stares. The mail comes at 4. The mailman is old, and he still has his dreams. nights get so long, silence goes on, and I'm feeling so tired, I'm not always gone. Well, Sonny's dreams can be real, and his stories he's read, and stars in his eyes, and dreams in his head, and he's hungry inside, and the wild world outside, and I know I can't hold belief. I'm trying, I'm trying, I'm trying. Everybody, Sonny, don't go away. I'm here all alone. Your daddy's a sailor who never comes home. The nights get so long, the silence goes on, and I'm feeling so tired. I'm not always gone. Well, Sonny, don't go away. I'm here all alone. Your daddy's a sailor who never comes home. The nights get so long, the silence goes on, and I'm feeling so tired. I'm not always gone. Sonny Street. Ron Hines, wonderful songwriter, man of 1,000 songs. We'll have a little more about Ron Hines later on in the year here, and we'll have really probably a song or two by most of these folks later on in the year. So we're coming to our number one song, and just before we do that, I did want to say, well, first of all, thanks for coming in tonight. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I would be much remiss. I'm probably already been remiss, but I would really at Christmas time we had just put a little button on our Facebook page for donations, and people made donations, and more people made donations. People were extremely generous and have really helped us out a lot. This has been a trying year for arts, the arts, musicians have not prospered in a pandemic. Anybody who needs a crowd who has not prospered in the pandemic, and we really do appreciate all of the generosity and the warmth that we felt with the comments that people made. And really, thank you very much. It was hugely helpful, both spiritually and really for our bottom line, because it was looking pretty ugly, really, for a while. And we do appreciate the help. Many hands make light work, and you've really done. There was many people who stepped up, and anyway. So, thank you. So, here we go. This last song. This was a song put out by the Rankin Family, 1992. It was on an album by the same name called Fare Thee Well, Love. It's written by brother Jimmy Rankin, and the Rankin family was made up of Raylene, Heather, and Cookie Rankin, and Jimmy Rankin, and John Morris Rankin. And they were really one of the groups, probably the group that drove the East Coast music wave in the 90s, and many musicians from the East Coast have prospered because of the ground that the Rankin family broke through that decade. And this was one of the songs that made it happen. It's called Fare Thee Well, Love, and again I'm doing this capo 2 if you're playing along, and let's just it's a this like Cape St. Mary's is both a little high and a little low, so there may be some highs and lows in this. We'll hope not too many not too many lows anyway. So thank you for joining us. Planning to be back again next week. Sorry about last Thursday, but there was just no way I was getting out of my driveway, and really I wasn't all that anxious to get on the road because it didn't look much different. So We'll look forward to seeing you all next week. If you got a request, let us know. Better to do that by email. Remember, secondwindmusiccenter@gmail.com. Also, if you're new to the crowd and you would like to be on the list to get a PDF of the lyrics and the chords, just send a note to that email with lyrics in the subject line, and we'll make sure to get you on the list. And anyway, thanks for coming along, and as they say, fairly well.
Fairly well. Take your heart. Oh, will we never meet again no more? Far across, far across. My heart, take my heart. Oh, no one knows the tears I cried. So I'll drink today. I'll sing to you, Lord, in Father's glory. My time, my life, no more ties, Lord, rest is over. If I can have you by my side, come back, oh, come back. Love, sun and moon refuse to shine. Since I've gone away, this lonely darkness man, though peace and light. So I'll drink today, now I'll sing to you, now in Father's glory. My time of life, no overtimes, the rest is over. take your heart, take your heart. Oh, will we never meet again, oh Lord? Will we never meet again, oh Lord? Jimmy Rankin and the Rankin Family. That's the #1 song as collected by CBC in 2013. The #1 East Coast song. And anyway, hope you enjoyed that. And thank you very much for coming. And we'll hopefully see you all next week. Take care and stay safe. Wash your hands. You know what to do. You've been doing it for a year now. And hopefully it won't take another year to get this all tidied up. All right. Thank you very much. Good night. Take care.